So this is the first annual King in the Making, to let our young men know that they are nurtured and loved, and we have safe spaces for them.
Kids from all over our region say, come together, meet the other young kings in the district, learn from one another. We had the Say Your Name event for the girls, and they wanted to find how can we find an event that honors young men in the district and Region 2 as well, recognizing that we are all young kings. What does that look like? Giving them something to look up to, but then also doing what boys do, finding ways to compete, participating in some virtual reality.
Some people might think to be a king means you have to dominate other people, to be at the highest level, you know, you have power over everyone. But to me, I think a king means you help out, you try the best you can, show effort in everything you do, and lift people up to do better.
To me, what being a king is just being your own person and being a leader.
I think anytime you have an opportunity for them to be celebrated, provide speakers, provide presentations from COSI to the City of Columbus to the Mayor's Office to the Deputy and the Sheriff's Department, and just a number of administrators and people from the community who actually came out to support this event.
ICE Mentors here, which is a partner of Columbus City Prep for Boys, who's coming and talking about character building, male etiquette, you know, how we treat the ladies, right? Yes, ma'am, no, ma'am.
My mom, she pushed me. She support me. She just tell me what I need to do to go on in life. The best mom ever I could ever have.
Met with some of the younger kids, talked to them, really found that to be really interesting.
I've experienced many things, and one thing I've learned is how to socialize and communicate in difficult situations.
Being a leader, taking ownership of things that you have done.
I am a king, I am educated, right? Recognizing that these affirmations are imperative. The world already sees us one way, and our goal is to control our own narrative, but there's nothing that can stop us from achieving our goals.
I'm not a follower, because a follower can lead you into trouble and end your whole career. And I don't want that to happen to me. I want to move on and get a scholarship.
You was picked for a reason, and to really appreciate that others who helped you be in the spot that you are in now.
I could be a role model by doing the right thing, showing integrity, being service-minded, correcting people when they're doing the wrong thing.
There are other men here in high positions that are role models for these young men to say, here are the possibilities, here is what you can think about post-high school.
And there's no way we can do it individually. The needs are too great, but collectively we can make a significant impact. I hope that the event grows beyond just Region 2, just due to the fact that we're all now operating in isolation, but we're coming together collectively to do what's best for kids. Because, you know, my favorite poet once said, if there's no hope for the youth, then there's no hope for the future, i.e. Tupac Shakur.
I'm smart. I'm a young man. I'm an educated man. I am a king. Being able to remind themselves of that when you're having hard days, when the assignments are too hard, when the work doesn't make sense, when you fail a test, we embrace failure, understanding that at the end of the day, I am a king. And that's the message that we hope they take with them.
CCS for almost 15 years. When I first started, I was an instructional assistant for the ESL department. I did that for about 8 years. Then I moved on to helping with first and third grade for a few months. And then I landed in my favorite position, pre-K, and I've been there for about 7 years.
I chose to work in Columbus City Schools because it is the school district that is responsible for my education from K through 12 and is responsible for the education of my children K through 12. And so I have an affinity with the district, and I wanted to come back and contribute because of the experience that I had within the district. I work in a special needs program, so one of the most rewarding experiences is just coming in, working with our children who don't have language of any kind, and teaching them American Sign Language so that they can communicate with us, and seeing them verbalize when they don't have anything to begin with.
When I get to have my pre-K promotions at the end of the year, you know, the kids are in their caps and gowns and they get to move on to kindergarten, and it's like celebrating everything they've done all year. It's like, it's a great moment every year. It's like, I can look forward to having that memorable moment. I'm the first impression that our parents and caregivers and students have for CCS. I'm that first stepping stone for school. So I feel like I have a lot of impact. Like if I can make their first year with us great, then that sets them up as they continue on. So I'm a big believer in the impact of.
Probably one of my most rewarding was when I received the Channel 10 Classroom Hero. I also was a nominated Teacher of the Year in the Linden area. And just watching children grow and go off to college and come back to me, so that's really exciting. I think the work that I do and the time that I put into each individual children prepares them for the future, prepares them for whether they're going to college or not going to college, just so that they become great citizens.
You know, I came here when I was 18 as an immigrant, and you know, the district, I went here to the district. So as a student, they helped me out, you know, ESL student who don't speak English. So I just felt like the teachers were very helpful, and you know, now I just want to pay it forward. I just want to help other kids just like how my teachers helped me to be where I'm at today. You know, being the first person to graduate in my family was very hard for me to kind of grasp everything that went to it. But my teachers were there from day one to help every single minute. And one of my teachers even drove me from school to the administration office to make sure that all my papers are in and, you know, everything is set so that I can start school the next Monday. So I felt like that was so poignant, how the teachers cared about the students, their success and things like that. So I just felt like, you know, hey, this is what I want to be. This is what I want to do, you know, just help kids like myself who need help. Because if it wasn't them, I would not be sitting where I'm at right now.
The diversity. There are so many opportunities in Columbus that other small towns don't give you. We have a lot of resources here, but just the diversity of the families and the people that live here.
For the early childhood educator who's considering a career in Columbus City Schools, do it. We will come a rally around you, and you start somewhere, but that is not where you end up. We will grow with you, and you will be surprised at the amount of professional growth and personal growth that you will have working with our children in this district.
I can say it's truly magical. They love the taste of fresh produce just from the plant. Some of my students don't even know where some food comes from the grocery stores, so they learn so many things when they garden.
So they really want to be a part of it. Some of them at first, they're really excited about it, but then there are others that say, I really want to know a little bit more about this, so it's more than just looking and glancing at it. It's like, how can I be a part of this? Because I've seen it go from being just a seed, and now it's growing, and I want to be a part of that process.
So they really take care of everything and do it all and know how to do it all, and they have a lot of pride in that, in showing whoever comes into our classroom what they do and how they do it and what they've grown.
I think it's really cool that they're learning how food is actually grown now, because so many places are using all hydroponics, and so it's really opening their mind to see different ways that food can grow.
Learning how to grow is really important, and when you see it in person, it's a lot different than just reading about it or seeing pictures of it. And taking the fresh produce that you grow and then being able to cook it and taste it in your classroom, then potentially going home and requesting it at home, I think is pretty powerful of an impact.
It tastes different because it's more fresh at the moment, and also when you freshly pick it and just go wash it real quick and then eat it, it's crunchy and delicious. But when you buy it from the store, it doesn't taste normal.
This is the best salad I ever tasted. This salad is so much yummier than my mom's own salad.
Having like a fresh lettuce that you just picked is really, it has its unique taste.
It was my first time ever trying bok choy and kale. They looked pretty weird at first. When my friends told me to try it, I just took a bite and it was super good.
Oh, it's so cute because they really have a new taste when they try like tomatoes from the grocery store. I mean, they don't taste the same as fresh from the vine, and just their brains are exploding. Like normally they want to ask for ranch and they just pop it without it. So that's amazing.
Greetings and welcome to this week's highlights from across the district. October is National Principals Appreciation Month, a time to honor the exceptional leaders who guide our schools with vision, commitment, and compassion. Our principals are not only administrators, they are mentors, advocates, and champions for the success of every CCS student. This month, we acknowledge their efforts in creating positive learning environments that inspire growth and achievement. Leaders are grown here is what they do, helping students build the confidence and skills to reach their full potential. Let's take a moment to thank our principals for the impact they make every day. In addition to National Principal Month, we also celebrated National Custodian Appreciation Day on October 2nd. From early mornings to late evenings, our custodians ensure that classrooms, hallways, and common areas are safe, clean, and ready for learning. They take pride in their work, and it's evident that they genuinely care for our students. To our custodial teams, thank you for all that you do each and every day. You are the unsung heroes of our schools, making a lasting difference across the district and leaving a meaningful impact on the students and families of Columbus City Schools. Walnut Ridge High School students recently rolled up their sleeves to clean up their campus as part of the Mid-East Litter League competition, held during the City of Columbus's Public Safety Week. Organized by City Council member Emmanuel Remy, the event brought together nearly 40 students who worked alongside members from the Columbus Division of Police, Columbus Division of Fire, City of Columbus Office of Violence Prevention, and Keep Columbus Beautiful volunteers. Students also earned 10 community service hours towards the 120 hours required for graduation, all while building pride and leadership skills. While the cleanup left the Walnut Ridge campus spotless, one key takeaway was how students strengthened their sense of responsibility and community, showing once again that leaders are grown right here in Columbus City Schools. Just a few weeks ago, I stood with Lieutenant Governor Jim Tressel, Columbus State President David Harrison, and OSU's President Carter to announce that our Columbus City Schools Promise Scholars can now earn a full bachelor's degree free at The Ohio State University through the expanded Buckeye Bridge program. Building on the success of the Columbus Promise, Buckeye Bridge enables eligible Promise scholars who complete their associate degree at Columbus State Community College to transfer to OSU and complete their bachelor's degree, tuition-free. This expansion sets a new benchmark for student opportunities in Central Ohio, providing our CCS graduates with an accessible, debt-free path to college success. Families are also encouraged to complete the FAFSA application, now open for students planning to attend college. Together, Columbus Promise, Buckeye Bridge, and FAFSA are ensuring that every CCS graduate has the opportunity to pursue higher education and a brighter future. The recent CCS Transition Fair, held on Saturday, October 4th, successfully guided students age 14 and older through the steps of transitioning to adulthood, providing them with support and resources. The event focused on educational and employment opportunities, particularly for those students with IEPs or 504 plans. Families celebrated with educators in a supportive environment, making the fair a valuable resource for students to explore academic paths, employment prospects, and essential life skills. The Transition Fair showcases CCS' ongoing commitment to supporting students and families as they navigate their path to future success. We want to hear from you. The Fall 2025 Panorama Survey is now open and will be accepting responses until October 10th. Your feedback is essential in helping us grow as a district. This survey provides students, families, and staff with the opportunity to share their experiences and perspectives, helping shape how we continue to build schools where everyone feels supported and valued. Please take a few minutes to let your voice be heard. Together, we can create a stronger future for Columbus City Schools. These have been your highlights from around the district for October 7th. Thank you so much for joining us.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to today's Columbus City School Board of Education regular board business meeting. Today is October 7th, Tuesday, 2025. Can we call roll, Mr. Treasurer?
Yes, Ms. Ingalls? Here. Dr. Pierce is online. Mr. Simmons?
Here.
Ms. Vera?
Here.
Vice President Adair?
Present.
President Cole?
Here.
You have a quorum.
All right. We'll raise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. So before we get into adopting the agenda, I want to take the opportunity, board colleagues, and I do apologize initially. There was just a bit of a misstep here. Wanted to ensure, because we've done a first reading on policy 5136, that I motion that we amend the agenda in board matters to incorporate a second read of policy 5136, which is electronic equipment and devices. All right. Is there a motion? Is there a second?
Second.
Motion is seconded. Can we call the roll?
Ms. Vera?
Yes.
Ms. Ingalls?
Yes.
Mr. Simmons?
Yes.
Vice President Adair?
Yes.
President Cole?
Yes.
Motion.
Thank you, colleagues. Thank you very much. All right. So we'll begin to adopt the agenda, but before we do that, we will welcome in our Section 3 public participants to provide their concerns and interests about Columbus City Schools. So we'll hear from our public guests. In addition to that, we'll go into Section 4, which is board matters. Quite a bit of business to consider getting done there, but we'll get it done. Section 8 will be through Section 5.1 through 7.1 will be executive reports. We look forward to what's forthcoming from any of you. In addition to that, we will move into voting on the consent agenda, which will then go from 8.1 to Section 23.9, after which we will go into executive session. Post-executive session, we will adjourn, not in this room. We won't return here. We'll adjourn where we are meeting. Is there a motion to accept this agenda?
Second.
Motion.
Sorry. Second.
Motion and seconded. Can we call a roll?
Vice President Adair?
Yes.
Ms. Vera?
Yes.
Ms. Ingalls?
Yes.
Mr. Simmons?
Yes.
President Cole?
Yes. Thank you, Mr. Treasurer. Thank you, colleagues. All right, we'll begin with our public comments, our speakers. Our first guest this evening is Rebecca Bozeman. Rebecca Bozeman, and I believe Ms. Bozeman is in person. Okay. We'll move on to LaTanya Dunn. LaTanya Dunn, I believe that she should be remote.
Hold on a second, hold on a second, hold on a second.
Okay.
Thank you, Ms. Welcome, Ms. Dunn. You will have 3 minutes to speak.
Okay. I have 2 students that attend Columbus International High School. And what I have right now is a transportation dilemma. And I just want to start from the very beginning. And I'm going to start on the first day of school. They were in the parent portal, it says they were on Route 198. The first day of school, they go to get the bus home. That's where the problem is, coming home. And there's no bus 98. So I had to go pick them up. And then a couple of days, the same thing happened. They couldn't figure out bus 98, and the principal was involved. So finally I called, and then they tell me that it's not bus 198, it's 448. So now they know what their bus is that they leave the high school, but when they get on that bus takes them to a place, to a school that's even farther from the high school than my house, drops them off. They don't know where they are. All they know is they're at a building, dropped off, no information. The only way that they could tell where they were was to get on their phone and find out where they were on the map. So I had to rush over there, which took me a half an hour to get there, because I was worried about their safety. I get over there, there's nobody, everybody's gone home. They're standing outside this school, which is Oakland Park Elementary, not knowing what they're supposed to do. And nobody was at the school. Parking lot was empty. My concern, they got dropped off and knew nothing. And the bus driver told them that all he said was he goes no further, they had to get off. So now they find out later that they're supposed to get on another bus. And these are elementary kids. Mind you, it's 2:30 that they get out of school. That second bus does not drop them off until a little after 5 o'clock. And so they're riding first on a regular high school bus. Then they are the only 2 dropped off at that elementary school to get on a bus with elementary kids and not get home until after 5. So, on August 25th, I made arrangements to attend a board meeting to talk about this issue. But then transportation reached out and said, keep an eye on parent portal, we're making changes. And I had already, confronted the principal. I had made a call to transportation and presented the problem, but they told me just to get on bus 448, and the problem was not solved. So I canceled that board meeting appearance, waiting, for the changes, and nothing happened. So I contacted transportation again. And when I called them, they reiterated that they were to board Route 448 and then catch the 8 at Oakland Park.
So,
go ahead.
Miss Dunn, you're out of time, but what I will make sure that I ask of Dr. Chapman and the administration is to be sure that they follow up with you to settle whatever the dilemma is with our children's transportation with respect to this situation here. So expect that someone will be following up with you, ma'am.
Okay.
I thank you so much for calling us, Ms. Dunn.
All right. I appreciate you. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. All right. Thank you. Our next speaker will be Dr. Charles Tennant. Mr. Tennant. Good evening, good sir. Excited to have you with us. You will have 3 minutes.
Thank you. I need 30.
We have a no Baptist preachers clause. I say that lovingly.
I know. President Cole, members of the board, Dr. Chapman, it's an honor for me to be here each time that I've come. 32 years ago, I had a vision for an Afrocentric school. And I had this coruscation, and it came. 4 years ago, I had a vision for a marquee. I don't believe you have failures unless you give up on something. But I didn't. 2 years ago, come October 19th, the marquee stood at the Afrocentric School, but there was still something missing. I needed a base and do other things to it to make it stand out. On Monday of last week, the marquee was completely finished. And thanks to you, the board who supported Afrocentric School and me, and I really mean that. I also want to thank Mr. Maurice Odom, who worked with me diligently in pulling everything together, and Mr. James Jensel, who came out to the school, saw what I wanted to do, and he told me it would be done. I believe in positive things. We have a museum underneath the steps, and when I was with the architect, I forgot about a museum. He came back, so I said, we can do this. And I put lunchroom tables in there for the items that we had on the tables. But I believe in the power of positive thinking. I went to Nordstrom's 3 years ago and asked them for some tables. 1 month ago, Dr. Chapman, I got those 8 tables. And now everything that we have in that museum, I thank Nordstrom's. Thank you, thank Maurice Odom and everyone else in here for helping me to finish the marquee at the Afrocentric School. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Tennant. All right. Our next speaker will be Ms. Valina Upchurch. Welcome, Ms. Upchurch. You will have 3 minutes to speak once you begin.
Yes, sir. How everybody doing? Okay, my issue is with Buckeye Middle School, okay? I've been having an issue with Columbus City Schools for a few years now, to the point where I had to snatch my twins up out of Columbus City Schools. They're doing so much better now. But now, my issue is now, my daughter last year, she's in 7th grade this year. She was in 6th grade last year at Buckeye. The principal tried to pin the state test, her leaking the state testing. But she could not do that because she didn't have evidence that my daughter had did it. Plus, my daughter was on suspension during the state testing. So now, since all that happened, she's back at Buckeye again. She's back at Buckeye because I've been asking for an IEP for her. They have been denying an IEP for her for years, to the point where, like, I had testing through Trinity Hospital. I seek outside counseling and help for that. Yes, my daughter's 12. She smoked weed, okay? So the school is trying to use that against, I guess, me or my child or whatever. But like I'm telling them, when she leave out that door to go to her bus stop, I don't know what she doing. You know what I'm saying? That I'm not providing her weed. They done called her to service with me. And the school knows that I am in link with getting my child help. And for them to call children's service on me, it's crazy. Then for them to have my daughter out of school last week for a whole 5 days, no work, no nothing, talking about on a support system. Why on a little support center? But I'm like, why she is the only one out of 3 kids had to go to the support system? No, I didn't have a meeting about no support system. They sent me an email Monday at like 6 in the morning talking about insubordination. On what though? Nobody can tell me on what grounds that she do insubordination. What grounds is she the only one being punished for leaving the school grounds? And it's 3 of them. Like this, they said, oh, well, you got to come and get her because she admitted to smoking prior to coming to school. Okay, she is not on her. She didn't do it on his premises. Like, I'm not understanding what's the issue is what y'all have against my child. Like I said, as a mother, please somebody explain to me why my child was out of school for 5 days with no work, no nothing. Prior to that, she was out of school for 10 days. School only been in a little over, almost 2 months, a little over 2 months. She done missed 19 days of school because y'all keep suspending her, but on what grounds? I'm not understanding. We went downtown for a hearing. What they do? Throw it out. Put her back in school. So y'all just having her out of school for what reason? I'm really confused. And I got emails when I was emailing Dr. Womack, the principal, both principals, everybody in there. Nobody's responding back to me to tell me why my child is out of school. I want to know why she's out of school with no work. Now first quarter is over because she done missed damn near the whole quarter. It was straight F's. Y'all failing my child. Y'all denied her IEP for years. That's the sad thing on Columbus City Schools. When y'all know my daughter, y'all can look at her test results. Y'all can look at all of that. Y'all know my child need help. Y'all know she needed that. Now, because I contacted the Department of Education towards the end of last year, once my Buckeye Ranch people was like, have you ever reached out to them? I'm like, no. We reached out to them. Then they reached out to Buckeye. That's when Buckeye went up, oh, okay, we're going to do this.
And I thank you so much for coming to see us today. I had the opportunity to speak with you earlier. I'm glad that Dr. Womack also had the opportunity, Dr. Chapman, to follow up, and I look forward to learning more about how this situation improves. So please stay in touch with us. Thank you for coming down this evening. All right. We'll move right into Ms. Kate Webster. Thank you, Ms. Webster. You will have 3 minutes once you begin.
Thank you. Good evening, Superintendent Chapman, Board President Cole, and all of the board members. My name's Kate Webster, and I've recently retired as the district's high school resource counselor. I'm here to speak about our CCS high school graduation requirements, specifically our 3 local requirements that exceed the state bar. These include our academic elective, internship, and technology requirements. This is a big deal, and one that our district leaders have failed to effectively address for years. While these additional requirements may have been well intended to better prepare our students, they have created barriers for our students and staff. We are, in fact, the only district in Central Ohio and the only large Ohio urban district to place so many course constraints on our students. There are other ways that we can achieve post-secondary success, ways surrounding districts already embrace without unduly increasing graduation requirements. So, what are the issues? Our internship requirement doesn't count toward required state total credits and doesn't assist with competency alternatives. It's impossible or extremely difficult to facilitate for students on home instruction or our justice-involved youth. It requires considerable staff and district funding to track this purely local requirement. How about our academic elective and technology requirements? They interfere with the time needed for CTE pathways. They make tracking graduation requirements extremely difficult in all of our platforms, including Infinite Campus and School Links, due to overlapping with other credit types. No one has been able to create fully accurate reports to track them. No one. School counselors must manually track these credits. They create inequity for high schools that have a scarcity of additional social studies and or social science or other advanced science courses, which leads to students being scheduled into academic electives that they don't choose. All three of these local requirements disproportionately affect some of our most at-risk youth, including foster, homeless, incarcerated, transient, and immigrant youth, as well as students on long-term home instruction and tutoring. They create additional barriers for students who transfer to CCS during junior and especially during senior year, which we have a lot. They transfer in the spring, April and May of their senior years, from surrounding districts or private schools that don't stipulate these additional requirements. This often throws them immediately into non-grad status. Overall, these extra demands reduce our graduation rates due to unnecessary self-inflicted barriers. So the recommendation, eliminate our 3 specific local course requirements and reduce the total number of credits to no more than 21. We can still challenge our students to follow more rigorous college prep pathways, including our CCS diploma distinctions and state honors diplomas. Eliminating these extra credits will also allow more students to fully pursue valuable CTE pathways, which many of our at-risk students currently don't have time for in their schedules. Please help all of our students gain more choice in their academic pathways and provide the opportunity for more of our students to graduate on time and have brighter futures.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much for joining us this evening. Our next speaker will be Elijah Juan Fitzhugh. Welcome this evening.
Mr. President, Doctor, everybody looks so nice. You losing weight, girl, you look good. Hey,
You have 3 minutes.
I know, don't start the clock yet, you know. Hey, I'm a little bit different. I'm not coming to have a complaint or anything. I'm actually coming to encourage. I'm just gonna start off. My name is Elijah Juan. I'm introducing myself to everybody. I sit in the back quiet and just listen and learn as everybody explains and teach. I'm Elijah Juan Fitzhugh. I am an aspiring community leader. I kind of been in the community for some time now, but we'll talk about that later. I'm from the South Side. I went to Marion Franklin. I want to acknowledge our challenges collectively. I want to encourage us to become to continue to put our best foot forward. I encourage each of us to support one another and to stay committed to moving forward with positivity and determination. I'm not going to take up too much time, but can I ask everybody to stand up? I know y'all been busy. Just give me a couple of moments. It's going to be fun. Stand up. Okay. The first thing I want everybody to do is put your best foot forward. Now, keep in mind, don't look at your partner because their best foot ain't the same as yours. So let's put our best foot forward. There we go. Now I'm going to say this. To every janitor, student, and principal, to human resources, marketing, Channel 10, and administrative team. I just want to let you know that we appreciate you. To each and every board member, Mr. President, and our lovely CEO, you look good, by the way. The community thanks you. I'm speaking for our community from the South Side. I know you go through a lot of stuff, and we do too. Everybody is going through something, but thank you. And I ask that you continue to be focused and redirecting our students. It's a lot going on out there, and I felt in my heart that I needed to come and talk to you about this. But what we're gonna do, I want everybody to give themselves a round of applause for the commitment and the time that you're taking to help each student. That's all I have. Have a good night.
Thank you so much, Mr. Fitzhugh, for the encouragement. Yes, everybody is shining today. They look wonderful. So, yeah, I appreciate that. All right, our next speaker will be Lovey Green, and I believe Lovey is virtual.
Hi. Hello.
Hello,
My name is
Lovey.
Lovey Afi Green, and I am an alumni of Columbus Alternative High School and Central State University, as well as a former educator. Today I speak as a community member and a stakeholder in Columbus City Schools. I am speaking as an individual and not representing any of my affiliates. Although the last time I spoke before the board, it was rooted in frustration for vulnerable communities, today I come to speak about gratitude. First, I say thank you to the ladies of Alpha Kappa Alpha Incorporated, Sigma Omega Chapter, the ladies of Delta Sigma Theta Incorporated, Columbus Alumni Chapter, Central State University, Aspiring Educators, the National Education Association, Ohio Education Association, Columbus Education Association, the Ohio Association of Elementary Administrators, the National Sorority of Phi Delta Kappa Incorporated, Gamma Alpha Chapter, the Columbus Foundation, United Negro College Fund, and anyone else that I may have missed for your scholarship and your service to get a young girl like me from Linden to get to this point. Thank you for giving me the space to have a voice, to advocate for change, and to push the power behind my words. Today, I speak before you as a graduate of this gritty system, a space that was created to break me, but somehow I rose above. Thank you for acknowledging the inadequacies and taking the steps to protect our children. Oftentimes in educational strife, students are used as the first line of defense. But in this season, I am so pleased to see the board, educators, and their affiliates able to find the power within to step to the front lines. It is our duty to run, fight, and stand together to protect the minds that we mold. Today, I do not come with anger in my heart, but I'm here to remind you how far your support can go. Please continue to uplift the voices of our children and their families to receive free and appropriate education, the right to a balanced meal, to safe learning conditions, and just to be kids. With just one person, we can make a difference. Lastly, I would like to honor two elders of Columbus Afrocentric Early College School, Mama Barbara Yarbrough and Elder Tony West. These two individuals have taught me the power of discernment in the face of juxtaposition, the power of one word, one person, 1 minute. Sincerely, a young lady who hopes to make half the impact of the individuals in that room today. Although I am not there, you guys are there. And I hope that one day I can make half the impact that I see that you are doing in our communities right now. I personally want to do this through education with the same teacher brain that I had since I was 12 years old. Thank you. Ashe.
Ashe, thank you. It is always a beautiful thing to have the opportunity to continue to be encouraged by the community. So whether you guys really understand the power of your words with us or not, that is an absolute blessing that I think we all receive. Again, thank you all. I'm going to go for one more shot here with Rebecca Bozeman. I know that I called earlier. She was supposed to be here. I wanted to give one last opportunity. All right. So with that, we'll move right into board matters. It is my honor at this point to welcome from the Ohio School Boards Association, Mr. Tom Hostler, who is the new CEO, the new Executive Director of the Ohio School Boards Association. He's going to provide us a brief update on the 70th Annual Capitol Conference, but welcome. And then I definitely want to ensure that we all have the opportunity to get a shot with our new Executive Director as well. Welcome, Mr. Hostler.
Thank you, board members. Thank you, Superintendent, for allowing me to be here today. Just very briefly, the November 16th, 17th, and 18th will be the Ohio School Boards Association Annual Conference. As you know, it's an opportunity for school districts all across Ohio, from Kelly's Island with their 7 students to Columbus City, to sit side by side, shoulder to shoulder, to talk about what matters most, and that is doing all that we can for Ohio's 1.6 million students that are in public education. But I also wanted to take a moment today as well, and that is this. OSBA's mission is simple but powerful: to serve Ohio's public school board members and the diverse districts that they represent. That work only happens because of committed leaders who give their time and energy, not just to their local communities, but also at the state and sometimes national levels. I know firsthand how much time being a board member requires, and stepping up for added responsibilities with OSBA is no small thing. Tonight, I have the honor of recognizing and thanking one of those leaders, Michael D. Cole, for his service as a member of OSBA's 2025 Board of Trustees. Not only has Michael helped lead the association as a trustee, but also as part of the Delegate Assembly, and that's the group that determines OSBA's positions on many issues facing public education, and most importantly, Ohio's nearly 1.6 million public school students. Michael, in recognition and appreciation of your service on the OSBA Board of Trustees, I'd like to present you with this plaque.
Oh, wow.
Michael D. Cole is hereby recognized by the Ohio School Boards Association for outstanding service as a member of the OSBA Board of Trustees. We deeply appreciate all your hard work, dedication, and leadership. Because we know strong state leaders come from strong, supportive school boards, we also want to thank the Columbus City Board of Education for encouraging and supporting Mr. Cole in this important work. And I have a plaque for you that reads, "The Ohio School Boards Association recognizes the Columbus City Board of Education for its support and encouragement to Michael D. Cole as a member of the OSBA Board of Trustees." So thank you again for welcoming me here tonight. Thank you for allowing me to say these important and kind words about what you mean to not only this community, but communities all across Ohio, and to allow us to recognize your outstanding service. So, Michael, thank you.
Thank you. I will come up, but I'm filling big shoes here. Dr. Tina Pierce, I'm filling her big shoes.
Bless you.
Auditor, please.
Yeah. Be the last meeting I'm at. Hey.
All right. It is also, and thank you again, it's also my honor to, via resolution, and this will be a resolution that I'm asking us to vote for and support. Columbus City School Resolution to celebrate the life and legacy of Miss Ann B. Walker. To celebrate the life and legacy of Ann B. Walker and extend the Columbus City Schools Board of Education deepest condolences to her family, friends, and community supporters upon her passing on Sunday, October 5th, 2025. Whereas Ms. Walker was a pioneering journalist, civic leader, and advocate for equality whose trailblazing career in broadcasting, public service, and community engagement opened doors for generations of women and African Americans. And whereas born in Columbus on November 1st, 1923, Ms. Walker graduated from East High School and attended Prairie View A&M College on a tennis scholarship before earning her degree from George Williams College in Chicago in 1944. Later becoming a lifetime member of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated, Ski Phi. And whereas Ms. Walker began her journalism career in 1949, writing for the Ohio Sentinel, one of the Columbus's first black newspapers, and later joined radio station WVKO AM in the 1960s, where she held leadership roles and served as an on-air talent, using her platform to uplift community voices and promote equity. And whereas in 1972, she joined WLWC-TV, now today NBC4, where she became the first woman in broadcast management, serving as producer and community services director while launching an internship program to prepare students for careers in journalism and public communication. And whereas Ms. Walker was inducted into the Ohio Women's Hall of Fame in 1978 as the first woman to cover the Ohio State House, and in 1980 was appointed by President Jimmy Carter as special assistant to the director of the White House Public Affairs Office, becoming the first Black woman from Franklin County to receive a White House appointment. And whereas Ms. Walker's leadership extended to civic and cultural areas as the first Black woman to serve on the Columbus Zoo and Aquarium's board of directors, where she organized cultural exchange trips to Africa and was honored by the King of Ghana with the title of Queen Mother of Mazano Village. And whereas Ms. Walker's lifetime of achievement was recognized through numerous honors, including the City of Columbus Hall of Fame induction, the dedication of the Ann B. Walker Plaza at Adelphi Quarter, and an NBC4 documentary celebrating her 100th birthday, and I believe she passed at 101. Life well lived. And whereas Ms. Walker's grace, wisdom, and determination inspired leaders such as Mayor Michael B. Coleman, Council President Shannon Hardin, and the members of the Columbus Board of Education, myself personally included, the superintendent of Columbus City Schools, and countless others. Moreover, her life's mission to open the doors for at least one other person to continue to echo across the community she loved. Now, therefore, be it resolved that this board hereby honors and celebrates the life of Ms. Ann B. Walker and extends our heartfelt condolences to her family, friends, and community upon her passing. Respectfully. There's a second. We call the roll, sir.
Dr. Pierce. Mr. Simmons.
Yes.
Ms. Ingles.
Yes.
Ms. Vera.
Yes.
Vice President Adair.
Yes.
President Cole.
Yes. Thank you, colleagues, for that indulgence and for honoring not only just an incredible life lived for this community, but a family that supported her in the process. Yes, ma'am. Yes, please, yes. Yes, Dr. Pierce.
Through WCBE that our district re-air the documentary that actually our district worked with Ron Bryant last year to create in honor of Queen Mother. I had the opportunity to provide remarks and spend time with her, and it's a great documentary. So if we could re-air that on our station, I think in her honor, that would be really great.
That would be awesome, Dr. Chapman. Thank you so much for that indulgence. Absolutely. Yeah, I'll make sure I record it too. Okay, we will move forward with a comment about board self-evaluation. So today, I wanted the opportunity for us to take advantage of something that we have not been able to do, that this Board of Education particularly has not been able to do for quite some time. I think the last time that I was a part of a board self-evaluation, I was not on the board. I was a part of a committee that put together the rubric for the board to do its self-evaluation that was based on at that time's policy governance model. But I'd like the opportunity for us to indulge in this process. It is a 5-step process. But before I go through what that is, and then I'll shortly invite Sindel to join us for a quick comment as well. The why of this is to advance the board's continuous improvement and enhance its effectiveness. Essentially, we want to be sure that, one, we are maintaining a strict relationship, a progressive relationship with our reality as it relates to our behavior, as it relates to the outcomes that we have dedicated ourselves to ensuring for students, and more importantly, our relationship and communication with our community. We want to ensure that there's clarity of that work. In addition, we want to ensure that we guide our efforts towards our goals and guardrails. So it's not just about calendarizing things, it's about us giving ourselves an honest opportunity to share where we are with each other and with the community. This is a 5-step process that will begin this month. It will begin this month. The first part is, of course, understanding what it is that we're going to do. So part of that is getting individual calls. You'll get an individual phone call from Sindel or from AJ Crable, and they'll walk you through a survey, and he'll talk a little bit more about that. Our next step is individual discussions with the coach, and that coach will have it with each board member. The fourth is compile self-evaluation ratings. So the coach, once on track, and he works diligently with us, so I know he will be, he'll ensure that we have those ratings by the end of this month for us to be able to walk into November's meetings and actually discuss. And of course, discuss and adopt the board resolution, the board evaluation. And that will be for the whole board to convene that business at some point in November. If it's not the first meeting, it will be the second meeting of the month. With that, I love the opportunity to invite, just for a brief moment, Sindel to our phone call. Sindel, are you able to join us?
I'm here.
All right.
Thank you, President Cole. I think you made the point very clearly that I heard you mention that this is really about the board continuing to improve and starting with an understanding of the current reality so that you all can continue getting better on the targeted areas that you identify would most enhance your work. And so this is really just a common framework to do that, but the work will really be what you all are doing to make progress in those targeted areas. I apologize, I'm getting a pronounced echo, so maybe I should keep this brief. If there are any questions from the whole board or for the benefit of the whole board, I'm happy to answer them now. Otherwise, I'll be reaching out to individual board members. I think it will seem pretty familiar, even though, as President Cole mentioned, it has not been done as a full evaluation in recent years.
Thank you, Sindel. At this point in time, there are no questions, but all of us do expect you to follow up with us and look forward to that dialogue and the subsequent findings. I thank you so much for your continued support.
Absolutely. Thank you all for your service and for your focus on Columbus's students.
Okay, so now we'll move to our subsequent section where I will open the floor to my good chair and board member, Sarah Ingalls. We'll get started. However you want to kick this off, if you want to start with the policy that we amended to the agenda first, you're happy to do that.
Okay.
We'll follow your lead.
Yep. Thank you to our staff for updating that board docs agenda as quickly as you did. So if you refresh, you should see an item 4.4, 4.5, and 4.6, and those are the policies that we'll take up. I'll start with 4.4. So last board meeting, we had discussed how all of our technology and cell phone policy was jumbled into one massive conglomerate and confusing to read policy. And what we have attempted to do is separate out the electronic equipment and devices from the cell phone policy. And as we discussed last board meeting, the Ohio legislature passed some legislation that requires us to put forward a cell phone policy, gave us certain parameters, which I believe are fully reflected in the draft itself. And so what we have done, again, is we are going to ask for rescission of the initial policy, which was 5136. And what we will be doing is essentially creating two separate policies, 5136 and 5136.01. 5136 being the electronic equipment and devices draft. That is 4.4 on the agenda. There are no changes from the initial first read in that policy. And then if it's okay with you, Board President Cole, I'll just move into item 4.5 and discuss that. That is the second reading of the cell phone use in schools policy. We had a little bit more robust discussion about that at the last board meeting, and taking into account the feedback that our board members raised, I believe that this draft that is uploaded is fully compliant with the law and the requirements of the law, but also took into account some of the considerations and conversation bless you, that came out of both of the Policy and Governance Committee and the last board meeting. So to flag a couple of those, in the first page, you'll see use of cell phones in compliance with Ohio Revised Code 3313.753. Students are prohibited from using cell phones or any personal electronic devices that function like cell phones at all time during the instructional day, with the intent being you don't get to have your Apple Watch and use your Apple Watch to text each other and do the things that you would do on a cell phone in a way to get around the policy. I think that was an issue that board member Adair had raised, and there was a little bit of discussion around that. So that gives our educators the flexibility to use that language if they need as technology develops and as these cell phones turn into morphed forms of devices, but nonetheless still function as cell phones. So we amended that piece of the policy. The other piece that we amended and that I want to call out is in the exceptions section. It is the same exceptions that were presented in the first read of the policy. We just broke out the Rehabilitation Act language from the Comprehensive Emergency Management Plan. So there is an A, B, C, and D, whereas previously there was an A, B, and C, but B was very loaded. So we just separated out B into B and C. And then I want to call out, I believe it was Dr. Pierce, don't want to put words in your mouth, but on issue C, we had discussion as a board around cell phone use being permitted during active threat or emergency situations, and that was some feedback that our parents had given us, and so we built that language into the exception in section C. The last section that changes, we still have the result in progressive discipline. The cell phone storage, the language, after discussion, we as a board decided that every building is different and the makeup of the classroom is different. And the intent of the policy is to make sure that cell phones are out of sight and they are not being used and used as distractions in the classroom. And so the language reads, students shall keep their cell phones out of sight and in a secure location during the instructional day unless an exception applies. And we understand that different schools have been applying this differently depending upon the needs of their particular building. So some schools have implemented you have to keep it in your locker rule, whereas other schools have implemented a rule that says you need to keep it in your backpack or just out of sight. So whatever works for that building, it gives that building the flexibility to do what they need to do, but still sets forth the intent, which was the intent of the legislation and the intent with this policy to comply with that legislation that says that the cell phone needs to be out of sight and in a secure location. So that is the second reading and slight changes that we made based on feedback to policy 5136.01. So I will stop there because those two policies really are conjoined in what the subject matter is and the intent behind them. And I will leave the transportation policy for discussion after whatever discussion we want to have now.
All right. So the floor is open. Dr. Pierce.
Thank you, Chair Ingalls, for bringing these policies back to the table for fuller discussion. Appreciate the revisions that your team and committee did for this. The only question I have then relates to when we are in that gray period where IEP or 504 meetings have not happened, but families have done the due diligence to have the letter from the student's physician. Did the committee discuss writing into the policy that the building principal has the leeway to give the okay for that versus it going through an administrative guideline that will hold the building superintendent to keep that device away from students until after the IEP and 504 meetings have happened?
The answer is no, we have not had the discussion as a committee, but I will pass it over to Dr. Chapman to kind of talk about the practice of the buildings.
Yes, I can answer that question. So the exceptions for use of the cell phone certainly would be an IEP, but for if a student has an IEP. But even if a student doesn't have IEP, another exception is for medical reasons, which a signed letter or note from a doctor would be permissible without having, even if they're in between scheduling and so forth. So a note for medical reasons, for certainly those are already exceptions that exist in the law, medical reasons, IEP needs, as well as certainly if our teachers, instructors name that the cell phone use is needed.
So we just recently had an issue with this happen in one of our high school buildings where the meeting was not had, and there was this period where the student was literally out of school for a couple of days while we were in that gray period. So I guess my additional question is, will there be administrative guidelines that will empower the superintendent to empower the principals to okay the use of such devices when there is an IEP or a 504 and it's not for medical?
So,
and that's prior to that meeting.
The administrative guideline, I mean, once we adopt the policy, we would determine the need for an administrative guideline, but in that guideline, there wouldn't be a new set of exceptions. The board isn't giving us authority to create a new set of exceptions. It sounds like we have the same set of exceptions that the state has in their law, in their policy, and that's what the board adopted. Specifically related to the incident that you referenced, there's additional details that you don't have regarding that situation, and that situation does not apply to this particular situation. So we could talk more offline. I don't want to share or disclose any personal information regarding a student or their family or their medical information at the board table in a public meeting. But I feel very confident that the exceptions that are outlined in the state law, in the board policy, are the same exceptions that we would implement unilaterally across the board. We wouldn't create another set of exceptions for our students and families.
I guess my question would be, would you specifically call out what the policy or what the practice and procedure will be when we are in that gray area before the IEP and the 504 meeting happens?
I'm going to repeat again. The answer is no. Okay. There is, if a parent, a student has a medical need and a form is signed by the medical doctor, that is an allowable exception in the law as well as in our board policy as currently stated. There's no gray area there. Either it's signed by the doctor or not. In addition, another separate exception is if a family has an IEP or a 504 plan. If they have that documentation, that is another exception that's allowed for in the law as well as in our board policy.
That's what the question has been referring to when I keep asking it. So I guess, colleagues, here's the situation. We could, in some instances, have students who need use of their electronic devices for IEP or 504 reasons. They may not have the letter from the doctor in enough time, or they might have had it last year, but they're waiting on that IEP or that 504 meeting to happen. And there's a gray period where that meeting might not occur until the second or fourth week of school, right? And so that student is in that period, and that family is in that period where they don't know if they can use that device. So I think as a board, we need to either empower the superintendent to create an administrative guideline that says during that period when the IEP or the 504 meeting has not happened, and maybe we don't have the medical documentation, maybe the principal can meet with that parent and determine how and when those electronic devices will be used. What is the compromise so we can ensure that those students are still getting access to what they need to be successful?
Is this some sort of a motion?
No, it's something for us to consider. I mean, you have the policy. I think that it could go into administrative guidelines with no problem at all. And I would be okay with saying, I trust the superintendent, we'll do that. We can have conversation with board leadership and with Chairs Ingalls to make sure that happens. But we need to publicly call out that a lot of this, the state legislature and people making these policies thinks it flows so easily, and it doesn't flow as easily. Timelines sometimes can be thrown off, and our students need the resources to be successful.
Vice President Adair.
Thank you. In reading Section D, and I think this is what Dr. Chapman was saying, maybe Dr. Pierce, you can help us explain why you don't think this covers it. Where it says a student may use a cell phone or other electronic communication device to monitor or address a health concern if the school board receives a written statement from the student's physician.
So again, when you're dealing with families who may not have access to go to the doctor to get that written permission in enough time when school starts, we have to think about there are families who might not have health insurance, who might not have access to just go to their doctor and get that note very quickly. There's a gray period in time at which some of our students may not have that letter. There's a gray period in time in which teachers are scheduling IEP and 504 meetings for multiple students with multiple families. And so some of those families might be in a backlog where they're not having those meetings. And so my question, and even in our previous policy, there was a line that empowered the school building administrator or principal to make that determination. That was in our old policy. That line is there, was there.
Yeah, I think the hard part about this is that the law that was passed is extremely prescriptive in what the exceptions are allowed to be. Otherwise, they are not allowed to be used. I do think that there's possibility for administrative guideline here, and I think that Exception A, students may use cell phones for learning purposes if deemed appropriate by the board, might give the superintendent a little bit of leeway if she understands that the board is interested in wholly complying with what the exceptions and the spirit of the law that was passed is, but understanding that there might be those days in between where we're trying to figure things out and helping our administrators understand what to do in those situations.
And I'm amenable to that, Dr. Chapman. In fact, I would even add to that whatever aggressive stance we need to take to educate parents on the IEP situation or 504, how SPED works, what their rights are, and what the law is in our policy, I think is very helpful for us to figure out a way to aggressively inform families of where this is. Perhaps this can also be something that is raised as a part of our upcoming conversations in our future, our CCS dialogues moving forward this month. But, Madam Vice President.
Thank you. So continuing this dialogue and what Board Member Ingalls just said in citing to A, this kind of was something I asked about before. It wasn't as specific as Dr. Pierce's example, but more about, teachers just saying, we're going to use the cell phone in a lesson today. And we had talked about A, covering that as saying deemed appropriate by the board. But there's no list. So what does that mean, like deemed appropriate by the board? Like I think we all had, we're like, yeah, that sounds like we want teachers to be able to do that. But then Dr. Pierce brings up this second situation. I mean, how do you know what's deemed appropriate? Or are we just delegating that to the superintendent to figure out what is deemed appropriate?
Well, in the state policy, it mentions that the teacher in the classroom would be determining when that is appropriate to use the cell phone aligned to instructional purposes. So it could be read as that, when thinking about the needs of the students, the teacher is generally a member of the IEP team, the 504 team, and is working with the student and their family to address those needs, would be able to say, for this particular student, based on what I know about the student, based on what I know about their history, their background, their needs, future conversations, the teacher would have that discretion to deem the cell phone use to be appropriate in that moment, in that class, or same for the administrator. But I'm again making the assumption in A that the board is delegating that discretion to the administration and the school-based staff.
Yes.
Yes, as per the law.
Yes, that's
As
what I
per
read.
outlined by law.
But it doesn't say that here specifically in our policy, so I don't know if we want to say that more specifically. Because the board, I mean, we, in our own policies, right, the board means something. It means the Columbus School Board. Like, that's defined somewhere else in a policy, right? So I just don't want it to be confusing when it says deemed appropriate by the board. It doesn't mean every decision comes to us. There is some delegation, right? And so I don't know if that can be redefined or I don't know, but it's a little bit confusing to me reading, like, who is making that? Like, we all agree that the board isn't going to be doing that. Teachers aren't going to come and be like,
I think it could be, and thank you for uplifting that, I think that it could be a conjunctive sentence. The first is as appropriate or approved by the board and identified by the superintendent in administrative guideline. I think it's a simple conjunctive sentence.
Yes. And I think I brought it to the board in that term for administrative guidelines, because as it was explained to me legally, our job is to make the policy. The superintendent would then work with her team to determine what is the practice, how does this happen within the day-to-day operations of the school day.
so if deemed appropriate by the board through delegation to the superintendent. Then that means through the administrative guidelines.
Well, I think Board President Cole was suggesting at the last where it says board, you would just add and identified by the superintendent in administrative guideline to be explicit.
Yes.
Yes.
But that also holds that you have to come up with the administrative guidelines and just put them as the addendum to the policy. You good with that? Okay.
All right.
Just want to make sure we all on the same page.
Yep, so that's going to be the next step.
So I'll second your motion.
Well, hold on. We haven't even, so I allowed the opportunity to speak. I'll open the floor up so that we could have early conversation just for this kind of situation. So now what we can do is, based on the amended language, if you'd like to offer a motion to adopt, Board Chair.
Yes, so I will
Committee
offer
chair.
a motion to adopt the second reading version of Policy 5136, Electronic Equipment and Devices Draft, as well as the second reading addition, plus the addition of the language and identified by the superintendent and administrative guideline after the word board in the exception section A, which is Policy 5136.01.
Second.
Motioned and seconded. Can we call the roll, Mr. Treasurer?
Yeah, who is the second again? I apologize. Thank you.
Second is Dr. Pierce.
Ms. Vera.
Yes.
Ms. Ingles.
Yes.
Dr. Pierce.
Yes.
Mr. Simmons.
Yes.
Vice President Adair.
Yes.
President Cole.
Yes. All right, motion passes. All right, thank you for that hard work. We'll move on to the second reading of Policy 8600, Transportation.
Okay. So this policy is a lot more straightforward because it is very simple additional language. As we discussed at the last board meeting, the administration has indicated that they would like to explore looking at transportation and how we provide transportation as a potential cost-saving measure and also as a potential decision point on how we do business moving forward. A few years ago or some years back, the board put together a policy that required bus transportation for grades 9 through 12 within or over 2 miles away. And so what we are doing now is just changing the language and the policy so that grades 9 through 12, the language would say the board may transport students, giving the option for the board to make the decision in the future if it so chooses. Now, this is not, because we are amending the policy, is not to say we have made that decision and that is the decision moving forward. That has to be a separate vote. This is changing the policy so that our administration feels like they are abiding by board policy when they look into additional measures or additional potential decisions.
All right, is that a motion, Ms. Ingles?
So I will move to accept the second read language of policy 8600.
Motioned and seconded by Vice President. All right, if we can call a roll.
Yes. Mr. Simmons?
Yes.
Ms. Vera?
Yes.
Ms. Ingles?
Yes.
Dr. Pierce?
No.
Vice President Adair?
Yes.
President Cole?
Yes. Thank you, motion passes. All right, we will move on to executive reports, and I'm happy to begin with the superintendent. Dr. Chapman, welcome this evening.
Welcome. Good evening. President Cole, Vice President Adair, and all of our community members and guests who are here with us this evening. I don't have an official executive report for this evening, but I certainly would like to just share again some reminders about several community engagement events that are coming up for the district. Certainly, as President Cole, you mentioned earlier, our community engagement series entitled Our Future, our CCS Town Hall Series. We are very excited about these sessions. They are intended to be interactive and very engaging for all. This series will bring our community together to listen, learn, and collaborate as one as we shape a shared vision for student success. This is an opportunity for open and honest dialogue and meaningful collaboration between our district, our community, and our CCS families. There are 3 opportunities to make your voice heard. These sessions will begin on October 27th at South High School, October 28th at West High School, and October 29th at Mifflin High School. Doors will open at 5 p.m. with sessions beginning at 6 p.m. We also want to remind all of our families that we have 2 community engagement sessions coming up for Broadley and Moeller families. Broadley families will be meeting them at East High School tomorrow, Wednesday, October 8th, starting at 6 p.m., and Moeller families will be meeting them at South High School on Monday, October 15th, starting at 6 p.m. We'll also offer virtual opportunities for families to engage as well. Certainly, I want to welcome and invite all of our community members to join us at this series of engagement sessions that we'll be having over the next month. We look forward to seeing them at these sessions and working with them to collaborate to ensure a brighter future for our students.
Thank you so much, Dr. Chapman. I always like, especially with important things, to be redundant. But with that in mind, where can folks who may only be able to attend virtually, where can they very easily, comprehensively access that information?
We'll be sending that the reminders for all of those events have been sent out to all of the Moeller and the Broadley families and translated into our top 5 languages, so they should check how they receive all of their information for CCS, whether that's email, phone messages, text messages, as well as flyers that'll be going home and backpacks for all of the families. And so we just encourage them to join us, and we'll continue to be pushing out more information.
Awesome. And where can they access that on the website as well? Is that available there?
I believe so, but I would have to double check to make sure that exactly where that landing page is.
Yep. Can we make sure that we have that?
Check and
easily
provide
accessible.
you an update.
I thank you for that. And again, our dates in October are October 27th through 29th.
27th, 28th, and 29th. Yes.
And that is the 27th at
South
High School.
28th is at West High School, and the 29th is at Mifflin High School.
All right. And if there's a number someone would like to call for more information, how could they contact us there?
Well, certainly they can contact the school, or they can contact our CCS, contact us at our helpline.
All right. And that number is, anybody know what that number is?
365.
Is it still 365 5000?
5500.
5000.
Yep, 365 5000. That is
Yes.
614 365 5000. All right. Thank you so much for that report. Mr. Internal Auditor, welcome this evening, good sir.
Good evening. No report tonight, but I do have just a comment to thank Dr. Chapman and Mr. Cook and their staffs for continually reaching out for assistance. I really appreciate it. So thank you guys for encouraging them to do that in the collaboration that we're all sharing together. So I appreciate that.
Thank you and your team.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, Mr. Internal Auditor. And Mr. Treasurer.
Good evening. No formal report, but I would like to remind the board tonight we're asking for approval of our October forecast. And then based on the outcome of the workshops that Dr. Chapman and her team are hosting, as well as the work they're doing now towards the unfortunate cuts we're facing, we will be updating that forecast pretty rapidly again in February on the outcome of those decisions. So again, formal approval tonight, and we'll update in February.
All right, thank you so much, Mr. Treasurer. We will also have a upcoming joint committee meeting that will occur on October 16th, Thursday, October 16th at East 270. I always want to say the street first. 270 East State Street at our district headquarters between 5:30, because I think we'll be serving food. So 5:30 to probably about 8 o'clock, 8:30. So we'd love to have you there as well if you're able to make it. With that, we'll go right into, unless there's anything else, okay, we'll go right into approval of the consent agenda. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda? That is sections 8.1 through 23.9.
So moved.
It is moved. Is there a second? Motion is seconded. Call the roll.
Mr. Simmons.
Yes, with the exception of 21.1, for which I vote no on.
Ms. Vera?
Yes.
Ms. Ingles?
Yes.
Dr. Pierce?
Yes, with the exception of 21.1, which I vote no on.
Vice President Adair?
Yes.
President Cole?
Yes, motion passes, as well as the ones that had the 2 no votes. All right, thank you all for that. We'll go right into announcing executive session. Madam Vice President.
It is recommended the Board of Education move immediately into executive session pursuant to Ohio Revised Code Section 121.22G1 to consider the appointment, employment, dismissal, discipline, promotion, demotion, or compensation of a public employee or official, or the investigation of charges or complaints against a public employee, official, licensee, or regulated individual, unless the public employee, official, licensee, or regulated individual requests a public hearing. And G4, preparing for conducting or reviewing negotiations or bargaining sessions with public employees concerning their compensation or other terms and conditions of their employment. That's a motion.
Second.
Motion is seconded. Call the roll, sir.
Ms. Vera?
Yes.
Ms. Ingles?
Yes.
Mr. Simmons?
Yes.
Vice President Adair?
Yes.
Dr. Pierce?
Yes.
President Cole?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Thank you all. Please travel safely home. As I understand it, there are several pothole issues on 270. Please watch your driving on 270
Where do you
or
go?
70 East. I think it's one of those two, but be careful in your route home. Thank you.